Hello everybody. Today I'd like to introduce laboratory work 1. The discipline is ICT. It means Information and Communication Technologies.
Subject of our laboratory work is types and components of computer systems.
Work is Associate Professor Kan Oleg Alexandrovich.
And lecturer Isin Bakhtiar Dauletovich.
Okay, let's start our work. The subject of our work: types and components of computer systems. The purpose of work: description of internal hardware devices. Description of the characteristics of a personal computer. Laptop and mobile phone. Job content. The first, read the brief information from the theory, and the second, please perform the job. Okay. Task 1. Please open the special tool which built into Windows 10 to evaluate the performance of computer devices. It's the first part of task 1. And the second part is open resource monitor, analyze CPU, memory and disks. CPU means Central Processor Unit. If you use not Windows 10, and for example you have earlier versions of the Windows, not Windows 10, you can find Windows Performance Index window. For example, in Windows 10, I couldn't find Windows Performance Index window. And for example, in Windows 7, you can find the performance index by component. And please formulate recommendations for improving computer performance. Okay, I can show you my performance of my computer. Here I have opened my resource monitor on my system. I have Windows 10, and here you can find interesting information. It's a special information of system. Review page with common information, and Central Processor Unit page. Here you can find amount of threads and description of processes and load of CPU. And this page can show you random access memory load and settings and parameters of random access memory. This page for disk. Here we can see process with disk activity, and the disk load we can find here at this page. And the network page. Here we can see network activity. And here we can see process with network activity. It's very interesting. We can find amount of received bytes, sent byte of each process. Sometimes it's very significant information. Okay, let's return to our presentation. Okay, let's resume our presentation. I have showed you how can we use resource monitor, and let's go further. The main technical characteristics of a computer are, of course, hard disk size, processor clock speed, and random access memory size. We can say RAM. These three characteristics give the most complete picture of a particular computer. Its speed and ability to meet the needs of the user. Let's take a quick look at each of them. As you can see, it's a very important topic to know more about your computer, about computers in university, at your home, because it can give you a lot of interesting information. For example, architecture of computer, how does it work? If you want to be a skilled engineer, skilled IT specialist, you need to know more about your tool. The first tool of your work is a computer, of course. It's easy to guess what the volume of a hard disk is. This indicator characterizes the capacity, and based on this, you can find how much and what information can be stored and processed on a computer. For most users, a capacity of 500 gigabytes to 1 terabyte, it means 1000 gigabytes, is quite suitable. For example, in my system, I have solid-state disk, SSD disk, which capacity is 250 gigabytes. I use it for Windows operation system. It's a system disk, and the second disk is a storage. Second disk I use as a storage, and its capacity is 1 terabyte, and I think it's enough. It's enough to store something at your computer. For example, I store in my second disk installers for many programs which I need, and video files, films, and I don't want to take space from system disk, and I prefer to save information at second hard disk. The clock speed of a processor is very important. It affects the speed of a computer. If you are not going to play powerful modern games on your computer, deal with complex processing of music files, videos, graphics, and etc., then a processor frequency of 1.5 or 2 GHz will be enough for you. For example, I need to process this video, which I am recording now, and of course I need fast computer, and of course I have fast microprocessor, because if I have low speed microprocessor, I need a lot of time to process this video, and it's better to save your time. Don't wasting your time. As for technical issues, when choosing a new smartphone, you need to pay attention to the quality of the display, operating system, processor, memory, camera, battery. The comfort of using the smartphone is provided by the display, which not only occupy a significant area of the phone, but also takes the main load. It means every time you use your phone, of course you use it through the display. When choosing, you need to pay attention to such important parameters as screen resolution, screen diagonal, and display type. As for me, screen resolution is the most important thing in display, because as for me, I don't like to see these pixels on the screen. This parameter is responsible for the quality and clarity of the display. The high-quality screen provides a more enjoyable viewing experience for videos and movies, documents, photos, surfing the internet, toys, and so on. Of course, the higher the resolution, the better. Accordingly, if you use a screen with a minimum resolution of 240 on 320 or 480 on 800 pixels, this obviously will not add comfort and pleasure. And if you give preference to smartphones with a resolution of HD, 1280 pixels on 720 pixels, or Full HD, 1920 pixels on 1080 pixels resolution, the difference will be quite noticeable. It's obvious fact. You shouldn't choose for yourself a model that can hardly fit in the palm of your hand. It's a question of ergonomic. It's better to have a smartphone with suitable size. The best option when it's easy to operate the device with one thumb. However, it's worth noting that manufacturers are making the bezels thinner and thinner. And time by time, we can see the displays become bigger and bigger, wider and wider. Today, the market is filled with smartphones with a wide variety of operating systems, the most popular of which are iOS from Apple, Windows from Microsoft, and Android from Google. Others are much less common, and it makes no sense to mention them. I remember a very interesting operating system. It was Symbian. Maybe Symbian. And Nokia company used to use these operating systems in their good time. But nowadays, Symbian is not popular. I think nobody product phones with Symbian operating system. But I used to like it. Android. Most manufacturing companies prefer to abandon their own operating systems. It's more expedient to switch to Android. The great advantage of OS is ease of use, the ability to optimize, and don't forget about the countless free programs and applications from Play Market. And I want to advise you, please load program from licensed sources. iOS. iOS is operating system from Apple. For Apple phones, it's characterized by simplicity, speed, optimized for all applications. It's believed that there is no virus that can crack it. And Windows. Despite the fact that this operating system is younger than the above, it's a little imperfect and there are not many applications for it, but it still has potential. Smartphones based on such OS are chosen by people who want to stand out from the crowd. The main element of a smartphone is a processor. The number, of course, can vary from 1 to 8. In the future, they predict up to 16. It's logical that the more cores, the more productive and stable the device functions, but the powerful processor consumes the battery faster. It's the price of fast work. In today's smartphone, the camera is a very important part. So the race for megapixels continues in this direction, providing clear lines and vibrant colors. We also remember about optical stabilization, which makes not only photos but also videos clearer, and autofocus and camera sensor. The size of camera sensor is very important for digital cameras. It affects the quality of videos and photos. And here you can see task 2. Please install the special program which can show you information about processor. The name of this program is CPU-Z. And you can find the technical characteristics of central processor, video cards, monitor, motherboard, and random access memory. And task 3 tell us about the main characteristics of a mobile phone, display, operating system, processor, memory, camera, battery. And the second part of the task 3, install the CPU-Z program on your smartphone and find the technical specifications of your smartphone. Your report should include these things. First, page title page, the results of the work which was performed, and the third, answers to questions. Thank you very much. By the way, of course, I give you questions. The first question is, what is a performance index? The second, what characteristics of a computer does its performance depend on? What is processor's core stepping? And what hardware characteristics can the CPU-Z program find? And how to find the characteristics of your smartphone? Our lesson is over. Thank you very much for your attention. Goodbye.